Hello, everyone. Sable here with the other semifinals match. It's me versus BeeOrSomething, a reprise of a week one match, though B has been on a really good streak, 4-3 after a 0-3 start, so 4 wins in a row. And so this is semifinals, my team versus B's for the other playoffs, for the other final spot. If you watched the game before this, you know Ghastly's team won and made it into finals. So I'm really, really hounding for that rematch with Ghastly as I want to get the win on her. So I was motivated for this one, although admittedly I didn't have as much prep time as I'd like. I think some of my ideas here were not things that I loved and probably wouldn't come back to. But I don't think it was all bad. I think there were some good ideas in here as well. But either way, I'm not going to get too far into that before you actually see the team. So let's hop right into the games. So Starmie from B on my side, Alakazam. And immediately I took this idea from Ghastly's of just trying to pressure the egg right away. And just getting Kinesis on it, trying to block some sleep powders and pressure it down a little bit. Ironically, the egg named letting me down while I'm trying to make sure it misses as many sleep powders as possible and indeed does let B down, so we'll see. But it really doesn't, because hitting it after 2 tries through -1 and para is pretty good. My Mewtwo comes in, and spoiler, it does have Blizzard, which I'm going to throw out right away because I want to weaken this Tauros, but I get lucky and get an immediate freeze, so what can you do? Now here, clicking Amni, trying to see if I can catch B, leaving the Tauros in and being afraid to hard switch into a possible T-Wave or such, but I'm happy to just push damage on this Mewtwo and see exactly what it's going to click. I maybe should have considered pivoting around it, but B's just going to go for it and trade. And I'll spoil that I'm kind of happy with this because part of the idea was to make my Mewtwo really threatening and use it as a win con to enable a different Pokemon on this team. So we'll get there in time, but Snorlax versus Starmie, also a matchup I'm pretty happy about because I want this Starmie down for that matchup. Those who know will already have narrowed it down to a couple of potential things that I'm trying to enable here by the way that I'm playing this. So really just hoping I'm going to get my para somewhere. That's all I really need out of this. And Starmie keeps recovering. And Snorlax keeps slamming. Unfortunately, Limber Starmie, but how much can you complain when you get a first hit freeze, right? So still pushing, no para, and at this point, Snorlax is getting dangerously low. I throw a Hyper Beam to cover for the recovery because that would have taken it out through most recovery numbers. And ultimately I get what I want, but I have to lose a whole Snorlax for it, which makes me a little bit sad because getting a boom on top of that pretty much wins the game. But here comes Mew, and it's a support Mew for the record. So on B's side, you see like a good amount of T-Wave support with a couple physical attackers. And so I'm figuring that the last Mew is probably going to be a more supporty Mew, but I'm kind of wondering why it doesn't come out yet at this point. You got a couple T-Wavers. You could be running like a more offensive Mew, but I think 3 physical attackers is a little overkill. And so my Mew just clicking Psychic. I just want damage on the Snorlax, so it's not going to get a 2-for-1 on me ultimately. And soft boiled up to try to just sit in front of it and keep psychicking it, because ultimately if B goes to Mew, I'm pretty happy to T-Wave that. But he booms, gets a 256, just a very unlucky game. So not too much you can do there. I go immediately to Executor here because I don't want to risk parrying in front of this Mew over and over and then finding out it's Hyper Beam and getting nuked. So the Swords Dance up kind of lets me know this is probably not a very supporty Mew. And B is preserving it as his win con. I can go to Mew an infinite number of times in front of this egg until it booms me. And ultimately I get some chances to click some prediction T-waves, to click psychic and wear things down, like whatever. We both have eggs, but mine has a lot more health, so I have more time to just sit and wear things down. B goes for it, predicting me to get greedy with the psychic, but I actually just click sleep because I'm not risking anything here to this Mew. It does wake up right away though, so I'm lucky that I get a crit. So lucky for B that it wake up immediately, but even luckier for me to just get the crit boom and not have to worry about it, because that would have been tough to deal with if it immediately woke, I boomed, and it didn't get taken out. Slowbro lives the +4 Hyper Beam from here, but it's definitely not a happy spot to be in at all. So I would have had to play Slowbro against it. I would have had a much harder time playing around it. And now instead I get to just set up Slowbro in front of this egg that can't actually do any damage to it and force this game to end. I could have just as easily gone Mew, but Slowbro is a bit safer because Amnesia means I'm not going to get worn down by repeated Psychic drops. It's kind of hard to get unlucky enough with Slowbro to lose this one. So ultimately just need to hit this egg a few times when the game decides to allow. It's going to take a little bit because Slowbro doesn't really do any damage to egg without a lot of boosts, but it's clearly a pretty winning trade, and even if this killed this and then boom my Mew, like it's a frozen Tauros, so my Zam will wake up and win. So definitely a lot of RNG going my way in this game overall. I think baiting the Mewtwo to explode on my Mewtwo was pretty good for my Slowbro win con. I think B had definite plays around it, but Freeze plus 256 boom is just a stupid amount of bad luck, so it wasn't really a game. I said in the chat GG in quotes at that point because it's not really a game. So game one going my way, but no one really got to play. Oh, I'm going to talk about the teams a little bit. So my team, it's just dual Amnesia, high pressure, special offense, a little bit of boom support here from these three. But really it's just on Slowbro or Mewtwo, whatever needs to be the win con here. In this case, I actually loaded Blizzard plus T-Bolt on this Mewtwo to cover for a potential Slowbro, but I was also just happy taking the boom with it. On B side, it looks like a ton of physical offense. You've got 3 physical attackers on top of a bit of T-Wave support. It's like very fundamentally solid, but I think just this much invested in your physical offense leaves you very open to getting Kuno'd, can leave you open to like losing a lot to Para. I think it's a bit tough to play that much physical offense. I don't think it's bad though. I think B's got a decent idea here, but just doesn't work out when you basically lose 2 pieces for free. So into game 2. Now in this one, it's a Tauros, and it is a Tauros. So pretty immediately having a Tauros war, we're just speed running RBY OU here. And where it gets interesting is really after the second body slam, where if there's no crits on either side, there's some hyper beam predictions, but I do take a crit. So now it's kind of just I'm pretty pushed hyper beam here, and B really is just gonna body slam. There's not really any reason to do anything else, but you can try to catch it. I think the risk there is if I crit that on the Mewtwo, it's not really ideal momentum wise, but B choosing to catch it and just take the damage and sit in front of the Tauros, not even going to recover if he has it. So I'm feeling pretty okay about sending Snorlax to continue the pressure, even though I know that there's going to be an egg switch in on it. So if I take my free body slam, I've got some good chip accumulated, which is really what I want because of what this team is. I will spoil that it's a barrier 2 team, so I'm just trying to wear stuff down so there's not really switches into the barrier. And definitely lucky with that miss on the sleep powder. I have 0 reason not to throw Hyper Beam, and even if this is counter, it wouldn't KO. So I take that free Hyper Beam, I take the fact that I'm now in the lead in this Snorlax matchup, and B gets forced to boom, and I'm thinking, great, that's one more boomer out of the way for my Mewtwo. Send in the Mew to send some more support here. So I think here I needed to predict this and just double on the egg. Or wait, no, now I'm remembering exactly what I had. I decided I was just going to boom it. I think I'm like mixing up teams in my head. I thought this might have been the Blizzard Mew team, but it was not the Blizzard Mew team, so I did in fact have to boom that. But I'm honestly at this point, I'm just thinking as many boom users as I can get out of here is good, but I do think maybe sending Mew right away was not the right call. Or sending Mew and then immediately doubling also could have been a good call. I could have doubled to Mewtwo, for example, and that would have been really forcing for B because Ice Beam would have taken it out. And as far as B knows, I have Blizzard anyway. But ultimately, I do get the sleep on the Mewtwo, so I'm feeling pretty good about just going for my setup immediately. So right here, I did Amnesia first, which I think might have been a mistake. I think maybe the correct play was just a barrier right away. And here I definitely needed a barrier, and that was a misplay. I needed a barrier or I needed to go to my Aggie. So now that this happens, I'm thinking, oh crap, I could get boomed, I could lose this game. I do get the barrier up though, so now I'm just thinking I just need to dodge a crit to win. I do dodge the crit, but 29% is not a happy place to be at +2. If I had just barriered first, then I could have been in a better spot than that. So now I have to get a lot. I do get the first thing though. Tauros does not get that one, but Tauros gets the next one. And unfortunately, I KO it on the crit turn when I'm just trying to force it as quickly as possible and not get taken out. And Zapdos now is just down to crits and paras. Unfortunately, I para. So I do think, like, I definitely got some good fortune with the egg missing sleep powder earlier, 55% to hit. Getting the sleep on the Mewtwo and dodging crits and stuff, it's favored, but only slightly for the egg to actually get that. So definitely some favorable stuff, but this right at the end has me thinking, oh crap. And I go Starmie to try to reset this by paralyzing the Zapdos so that I can get Mewtwo back in. But it's asking a lot here because my Starmie does not have Blizzard, so I can't 1v1 this. Agility up, and now I'm pretty screwed bar a bunch of paras, but ultimately I do get a few para chances, and that's the good thing for me. So I need a few of these to come through. Ultimately, the important one is just if I can get Executor Broom off, then even if B switches out of it, it's still winning for me most of the time. So multiple pairs in a row, and I'm starting to think maybe I'm out of this. I just need one more at any point. But Starmie gets hit finally, and now I need 1 out of 2 chances to para, which is like not unlikely, but it's definitely B favored. Gets the drill pack, and now there's only one more chance for me to win. So Mewtwo does not win. So well played by B. I think I definitely made a mistake by not immediately barriering with Mewtwo. If I'd barriered on the Mew coming in, I could have done it again, been at +4, and then I would have been immune to anything but a crit boom, and that would have been very unplayable for B, so I think I did flub this one for sure. On my side, bit of a weird barrier team. I definitely like I have some boom, I have some T-Wave, but I have a lot more physical offense front loaded than you usually would on a team like this, but I was just trying to break some holes so Mewtwo could clean up the rest. On B side, I would say a team that's very weak to barrier 2 except for the crit boom potential. No clue what this Mewtwo is beyond the Blizzard, so it could have been Blizz Boom, and that might have been a lot of pressure on barrier 2 that would have made it hard to set up. But ultimately, I think B did really well despite some bad RNG and caught me out. Agility Zapdos is the last Mon here I would have said usually is probably not what I'd want to put on this team. But in this case, it worked out versus me, Egg in the back, really called me on that and got me. So nothing but admiration for the scouting there. I think into most people this would be the wrong last, but I think B picked up that it's the right last into what I was bringing. So good job, especially winning with that versus a barrier team, which could have farmed this really easily if I get the right positioning. But I think B executed well on it and really called me on this. So 1-1 and into the game 3. And so we've got a Zam and another Zam. So here you can kind of guess what I'm thinking, but in this case, I'm actually going to go to Egg first. And so now I'm the one getting Kinesis on my Egg. Para. And hopefully my Egg doesn't let me down, like Bees didn't let him down in the first game. Gonna miss the first one, but that's pretty expected. Hopefully I just get it within 2 to 3 tries. And a second miss. The good thing about Kinesis Zam is it doesn't have anything to hit Eggy unless it runs Seismic Toss and drops Psychic, so you do have a lot of chances at least, and my Egg pulls through at 60%. And I go immediately to Tauros. This team from me is a lot more physical oriented. So Tauros immediately just doing the Tauros thing, and now I'm going to push and probably get boomed. So I definitely could have caught this, but I figure Tauros usually lives this boom anyway. It does 87 to 102, and I can always enable Tauros later, plus I have other win cons here. So here I go straight to Starmie, thinking, you know, T-Bolt is pretty unlikely. I want to para this, and I get blasted with a T-Bolt and paralyzed, unfortunately. So the really unfortunate thing for me there is the para. The T-Bolt showing up sucks, but this is still a Mewtwo that can be beaten, but once the Starmie gets paralyzed, now it's not like I can't use it to get a T-Wave or force out later on Tauros or what have you. So right to Zam, And I'm hoping this doesn't have T-Wave in addition, and I'm thinking it's probably Amnesia. I just go for an immediate drop in case it's T-Wave. So now I have the outspeed, and it's not doing much damage to me, so it's a pretty good force out. I don't actually remember if I loaded Kinesis on this. It might have been Toss, but I'm pretty sure it's Kinesis. And getting my Mewtwo in on the Sleeping Zam, but actually catching the Mew, but I'm pretty happy to just get the T-Wave on this because the Mewtwo is not meant to be the win con here, just meant to push damage. So Amnesia up keeps me faster than this Mew even if it tries to SD and kind of just forces it to boom, or if it gets one bad luck incident. So here, when B does this, I'm wondering if this is trying to reset it for his own Mewtwo to come in. But either way, I'm very happy with the pressure because it ends up being a free Mew. I think that B just made a mistake on mentally calculating what was going on there. And so my Mewtwo is happy to just sit in here against this Cloyster and wait for a miss so I can try to T-Wave it. We may be here for a bit. So this is part of why the Starmie being paralyzed is so bad for me. If it wasn't paralyzed, this Cloyster is a total non-threat because any one opportunity to recover the Starmie on a missed clamp, on a whatever, on a Tauros sack, on anything, and suddenly this is super fine, you know, because then Cloyster can't bully me anymore. But now, because that Starmie took the 10% T-Bolt para, I'm getting bullied by this Cloyster and thinking, oh god, I'm really going to have to rely on Mewtwo getting me there. So it's favored because it's only doing like 3% per clamp. I'm pretty favored to get a miss before I just get worn down, and obviously B doesn't want to boom this. But on this clamp miss, I do get it. So after 3 clamps, pretty statistically fair thing. B calling out the Starmie coming in with a Blizz, but you'd need the absolute max roll to kill my Starmie from here anyway. So I'm pretty happy to get a chance to get my Starmie back in to the game, but Blizzbolt Mewtwo is looking really, really scary for me. I'm definitely thinking I have to beat this with my Mewtwo. I have to bait this to somehow die to this. And because of what my Mewtwo set is, I'm just thinking this is hard. Now, like, look, the thing is, this Mewtwo probably has Recover and is probably going to be able to sit on me. This Cloyster is almost certainly going to have Rest and just sit on me and keep wearing down this Mewtwo. So it's very hard for me to make the callouts needed to win this, and I kind of think I just need to boom something and push through. It's my only real play here. If I take the self-destruct, I get a nice crit to put this Cloyster really low and kind of remove all remaining value from it. So Tauros comes in to make sure that B doesn't want to go to Mewtwo, risk a crit on entry and lose the game. And finally the egg comes out, pretty likely last Mon. Now I have a lot of stuff that should stop it between Zamegg me, and I'm thinking Starmie is the answer here for the obvious reason that it's not really a Mewtwo answer at this point because it has T-Bolt. So just juggling between Starmie, Egg versus this and saving the Zam to try to control the Mewtwo is kind of where I'm at this point, and I still have a Mew, of course, to try to win with. So here I trying to remember, yeah, right. So I forgot about this when recording this. I completely brain farted during this game. So Ghastly's and I both having lovely just brain farts in these semifinals games, despite coming in with really good records. And here I meant to just boom, and for some reason I just clicked sleep powder, which is really dumb. So because of that, and this, I believe that was a pretty high, yeah, so 24 to 29, and I had 28%. So between that and the high roll, I kind of chucked a situation where if I had just boomed this egg, then Tauros comes in, gets another KO, and this game is looking great for me. But my dumb ass kind of just forgot. I put "I'm so dumb" in the chat right after, and now I have to switch into this Mewtwo, which is really scary with Zam. I stay in with Starmie once, and now this game is just over. So I kind of totally collapsed after that brain fart, and now this game just looks so bad. Like Zam has to put the world on its back. I badly need drops just to keep this game under control. So I'm trying my best to do what I can, but if I had just boomed this egg, this game was pretty over. And unfortunately, small brain syndrome strikes. My Mew should have been able to win this game versus the Mewtwo solo, especially with a free chance to just Swords Dance right in its face and then beat it. I did have Seismic Toss, though. It wasn't Kinesis, so I don't know what I was thinking trying to beat the Mewtwo like this and not just booming the egg, but my brain got scrambled. I'm gonna say you get one throw per tournament. Ghastly's got hers against Enigami, but still got the win there. I threw here, and we'll see how this one plays out. But I did T-Wave expecting this would probably wake up in my face and decide to try to punish it with a special drop so I could try to break through. And B also went for it, so I did get lucky here and get a free Zam after it woke up a little bit early. But the problem is now positionally I have to play against a no longer dropped Mewtwo. I need a fast drop or I'm in trouble, but my Zam paras. And my Zam gets the recover, but I still have 4 Blizzards before I'm even like slightly out of the woods and I just get crit. And so now I'm thinking, oh god, sleep is on the table, my Mew can't do this, and I probably should have thought about doubling here, but I didn't really have many options, so maybe the best option was early wake. I click Hyper Beam here thinking, you know, like I could get an early wake, Tauros can KO this, Tauros can crit the Mewtwo and win the game. So I'm not that far from winning here. If that doesn't crit, I might have wake odds, but also Tauros versus Mewtwo is just one para could win the game. So I go for the para here, and if I get the para, I would have won, but I'm not going to get it. So ultimately, like, that one is my fault, because if I had just boomed the egg, then it wouldn't have stopped my Mew from winning the game at the end. So I did lose this one for my team, unfortunately. Which sucks, but I will also spoil that my team did end up coming through with a 7-4 victory. You need 6 to tie, 7 to win. So my team ended up carrying me this week through the brain fart. So it is a me versus Ghastly's finals in spite of me not playing my best there. But well played to B, coming out 5-3 with a 5-game win streak at the end of the tournament after figuring this tier out. I like this team a fair bit. Like, you got a good amount of Thunderwave support with a Cloyster as a semi-win con. You've got some physical support. You've got this Mewtwo that's threatening the Slowbro, which helps to enable Cloyster. It's just overall, I like the team. I do wonder what the Mew set was in full. I would think that, like, having one attack plus boom would be a pretty good set on a Mew on this team. On my side, it really was just enable the Mew, enable the Tauros. Like, I had dual physical win cons here with a good bit of T-Wave support, but I got caught out by my own brain deciding to not work and clicking sleep powder. Silly me. And I think other than that, like, this wasn't the best matchup for me. I think B did a really good job reading my brings, because Blizzbolt Mewtwo just fries this, like, me egg stuff. So I think I could have thought about my teams more. It was definitely a bit of a rush week for me just because of other stuff going on, but I don't want to take anything away from B with that. I think B's prep was good and B's play was good. I think the only thing I would say was a mistake was definitely that brain fart with the Mew in this game with the reapply attempt and sacking a full Mew. I think if you have boom, you just boom there. If you don't have boom, then probably you just go to Cloyster and pivot off the Blizzard and see if I have a second attack, because I maybe don't. And even if I do, maybe you can get Mewtwo in and push that way. Like, that's my only real criticism of B's game in this game 3. I think he played it pretty well. And I just made a mistake at the end that was really costly, just booming that turn. Like, as I recall, like, I initially thought boom, and then just for some reason Clicker Brain took over and I just clicked Sleep Powder. So, dumb move, silly me, but well-deserved win from B. And ultimately that leaves me at 6-2 after this one, and B ended on 5-3. Yeah. So that's the end of semifinals. I'm going to get to finals in the next one, which will be the last RBY game of the tournament, barring a tiebreaker, but I really doubt either team is going to pick an RBY tiebreaker if it comes to that. So I'll see you in that one. As usual, you know, click the like, comment, subscribe buttons, say something, give me the numbers, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.